Good morning, world!
Today at Cedric and Brian, Dodgers win the World Series, people riot. Another black man is shot in a major city.
People riot.
People riot. And in California, our own governor gives us the plans for his own COVID Thanksgiving. People may riot. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. Alright, well, first off, Cedric, I want to congratulate you. Your Lakers won, and now your Dodgers won. And, you know, it's a good thing LA acts so calmly with these victories.
It's embarrassing. I think the Lakers and Dodgers winning is their way of apologizing to California for such an incredible, awesome, nasty 2020. But anyway, like Brian said, yes, my LA Dodgers did win the World Series a couple days ago at the viewing of this on Thursday. And I get a few things off my chest really quick. Just a little personal vendetta that I have. A lot of fans who've contacted me, he said there should be an asterisk next to this championship. The Dodgers have been to the World Series the last 3 out of 4 years. They deserve to be there. The only asterisk that should be next to it is the Tampa Bay's manager taking out Snell in the 6th inning when he was on a roll, prompting the Dodgers to go on their hitting spree. That is the only asterisk that should be next to their name. Congratulations to my Dodgers. LA, still the city of champions.
If anything, those losses should have had asterisks because of the cheaters that they played against that cheated back in the...
You're talking about the Houston Astros, yes.
Yeah. So
exactly.
That should have an asterisk.
So, World Series champs. Okay, next. Me and Brian were laughing about this. We were kind of joking about it, but we shouldn't be joking about it. In Philadelphia, I think by the time this is released by Thursday, 4th day of riots in Philadelphia. Man, Walter Wallace Jr., 27 years old, was shot and killed by police officers, and people started rioting. Brian, this is getting old.
And you know, and before you get into the shooting, because this is really getting old with that, is we were just talking to my sister downstairs who was watching the Dodgers riots, and she says this is ridiculous that you can't have a positive thing now. You win a World Series, you still turn over cars, you still light things on fire.
Right.
I think we've just let it go so long, and it happened years ago with the Lakers too,
right.
is people do not know how to celebrate. They do not know how to protest, obviously. So this gentleman that was killed, again, the story is he's not an innocent person that was killed by the police. It was a man wielding a gun and running at the cops, correct?
Knife.
Yeah, knife. Sorry.
Yeah, but which is... And we talk about this. Walter Wallace Jr., 27 years old, and I know the media's going to try and spin it that he had mental issues. But still, even with mental issues, you shouldn't come at someone with a knife.
And he can't have too many mental issues. How many kids did you say he has?
He had 9 kids. 9 kids. And I have to read this. I'm going to go down, during the midst of all the riots and everything, I have to read some notes here. He was, and again, like you hear in so many different stories, they all have the same scenario. You know, that he's coming toward the cops with the knife, and the cops tell him several times while backpedaling, put the knife down, put the knife down, put the knife down. And how close to he should be allowed to get with the knife before the cops decide to protect their own lives?
I know.
Yeah. Is it 30 feet? Is it 20 feet? Is it 10 feet?
Well, because people watch too many movies. They think, oh, why didn't they just, wrestle him down or this or that? That's not the point. Cedric has mentioned this many times. Obviously, we're not going to go after a police with a knife. But if we're going to talk to a police officer, if they say stop, don't approach, we're going to stop, we're not going to approach, even without a weapon. This person obviously was going towards a cop with a weapon. And this does happen with non-black people too, and they do get shot. Again, if you look at statistics over the last year in 2019, more white unarmed people were shot than black. Obviously this person wasn't unarmed, but we hear the excuses all the time. It was only a knife. You can kill somebody with a knife. You got to remember, these police officers are getting threatened. Their lives are being threatened all of the time.
And I'll tell you this, even if you don't have a gun or a knife, doesn't mean that you're not dangerous.
Exactly.
You can still be a big danger to the police without a weapon, so to speak.
Yeah, we've showed video in the past where police try to wrestle somebody, and a lot of times they're stronger, bigger, and a lot of times they're on some kind of drug that makes them not feel pain, and they do a lot of damage to these officers with no weapons.
Right.
So
And here's the thing, and we know, I will touch this, we know that a lot of people are just opportunists.
yes.
In fact, Walter Wallace Jr., he was killed by the police. They looted a Walmart, they went on the roof, broke through the rooftop, busted the pipes in the Walmart, stole items. Is that going to bring Walter Wallace Jr. back? No. So why are you breaking into stores and stealing shoes and apparel and hats and TVs and electronics? You're an opportunist. Mm-hmm. You saw something that happened and you say, you know what, I'm going to get a piece of the pie, I'm going to capitalize on this misfortune, and I'm going to come up somehow, some way, materialistically. And
the people that are making excuses for these looters and rioters, and there's lots, the media makes excuses, there's people in in government that make excuses that, oh, it's because they've just reached a certain point. None of those are valid excuses, number one. And two, it makes the movement that much less effective because you're going to turn people away from things like Black Lives Matter
right.
when you see this destruction over something. What you do is, number one, you have to take the situation for what it is. It wasn't an innocent black man shot by the police. So number one, you have to make sure that you have the scenario correctly. Mm-hmm. Okay? And as we talked about before, there are hundreds of innocent people and black kids being killed every single day.
Right.
So to turn this into a reason to go loot and steal from a Walmart, it's not good for your cause. For those of you who are making excuses for this, whether you think it's okay or not, it's not good for your cause.
Right. And there are three stories that happened. Two of them are sad. The third one was kind of funny, kind of karma. There's a 15-year-old girl, like Brian was just saying, a 15-year-old girl was hurt in the melee in the riots in Philadelphia. 15-year-old girl, innocent girl. And a 58-year-old female sergeant has suffered a broken leg being hit by a car during the melee, so she's hurt. Mm-hmm. And there was another gentleman, 53-year-old gentleman, who I don't know if he filed the complaint with the cops or not. I don't know how they found out. But as he was storing up his car with stolen goods from the broken in, his car was stolen by looters. And I think he was upset.
I hadn't heard that story.
His stolen goods were taken by other looters.
That's good. That's karma there.
That is karma right there. But I want to read a quote from Walter Wallace Jr.'s dad, Walter Wallace Sr. He goes on to say, "I don't condone no violence tearing up the city, looting of the stores. I would feel like everybody having respect for my family and my son to stop this violence and chaos that's going on in this city with people that have businesses." He goes on to say, "I wasn't brought up like this, and I worked 33 years with the city, with the street department, picking up trash to try to keep this city clean." So here's a man who can't even properly mourn his son because there's a bunch of idiots out there stealing and looting and creating havoc.
Well, and if you haven't watched our last episode, the one where we talked about Shelby Steele's movie, number one, go watch that episode. Go watch Peter Feliciano's episode when he interviews Shelby Steele. But most importantly, go watch the movie What Killed Michael Brown. What Killed Michael Brown. Go, I'm telling you, watch that and watch it with people that don't understand the situation. It makes things so much clearer on what's going on today, because this was 6 years ago that the Michael Brown incident happened.
Right.
And you will see the same narrative keeps getting fed to the public because the media is not honest.
Right, right.
And if they were, we wouldn't have all of this.
Right. And again, our hearts go out to the city of Philadelphia, ironically, the city of brotherly love, going through all this nonsense, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Walter Wallace Jr. But like Brian said, this nonsense has to stop. It's the same scenario over and over again. It's just that the characters and the cities change.
All right. So, I mean, we hate talking about these riots. Something needs to change. The thing that really needs to change is these politicians in these cities need to stamp these things out early. You can't let them fester like they did in Portland for months on end. So if they don't stamp this out in Philadelphia, it's going to go on, and it's just going to cause more destruction in the cities that you're trying to help. So with that being said, Cedric has a little lighthearted stuff, and for those of you who live in California, those of you who don't, I know you're laughing at us, but for those of you in California, here is our illustrious governor, Newsom, Newsom as they call it.
It's the mandatory California Christmas / Thanksgiving gathering guidelines So now you have gathering guidelines. I'll go through a few of them. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8. There's like 10 bullet points here. I'll go through a few. No more than 3 households, including your own, may gather. So in your situation, if you and your dad and your sister are in the same house, that's it. Because you guys are 3 separate households.
Yeah, it's...
The host of the gathering must collect all names and addresses of those attending. Because you don't know where your sister...
Good luck.
Was. All gatherings must be held outside.
So, like we just had up to 90-mile-an-hour winds here. So if it's blowing 60 to 90, you got to be outside in that wind.
You can go to the bathroom inside if the bathroom is frequently sanitized. Let's see.
Listen, take this in, people. This is in your own homes. You don't think this stuff's getting scary by the government? This isn't Red China.
You can. Oh, this one cracks me up. You can only gather for 2 hours maximum. How long is a football game usually? 3 hours.
What kills me? What is that time restriction doing? Does the virus start to multiply after 2 hours?
Well, I heard that it only takes 15 minutes for the virus to contract.
So what's that 2 hours?
So you have another hour and 45 minutes just to hang around. I don't know. Just a few more. All seating must be socially distanced. Got to be 6 feet apart. and this one's huge. This one, I take this one seriously.
Okay.
Singing is discouraged. But if you must sing, you must wear a mask.
No Christmas carols.
And sing below a standard speaking voice. So no more karaoke parties here at your household.
This is all so stupid. And again, and I know they've got people worked up in a fear frenzy, but guess what? For people like Cedric and I, we are over 50, but even for people like Cedric and I, your chances of dying from this are less than 0.1. What they say is 99.9 something survival.
This is a damn shame. But anyway, we wanted to make this a quick one. I think the next time you hear us, we'll be discussing what happens Tuesday night at the polls. So I'm not wearing my shirt today. I'm wearing my Dodgers shirt, but the last few videos I've been wearing the vote shirt. Brian articulated very well. Just don't get out there and just wildly vote. Study the ballots. Make sure you know who you're voting for as far as presidents and mayors and propositions. And make sure you do your research and be smart about it.
And before you vote, especially people who just don't want to vote for Trump, realize that just 2 days ago, Joe Biden, with his wife, said that he was running against George. What kind of country we're going to be?
4 more years of George. 4 more years of George. He's going to find ourselves in a position where, if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
What does it matter? He's running for the Senate anyway. So what does it matter?
So he said George a couple times, and then he finally said Trump. So remember who you're electing. It's not going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Kamala Harris, who she was questioned, and I'm sorry I'm taking a little time, but she was questioned by somebody, I think from 60 Minutes, which I was so happy that mainstream media finally did this.
In the policies that you've supported in the past, you're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that, and it actually was Mike Pence on the debate stage. But
yeah, well, actually, the nonpartisan GovTrack has rated you as the most liberal senator. You supported the Green New Deal. You supported Medicare for all. You've supported.
So just remember, when you're voting, that's who you're voting for, and she is not a centrist like Joe claims to be.
Yes. All right. Whew, it's coming down to the nitty-gritty. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sharing our videos. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, and share this video with everyone you know. And let's keep getting the name out there, keep the push going. But we thank you guys for watching. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. See you later.